Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's SSG Trail here, and today we are going to be reacting to Psycho Cop breaks into ex-boyfriend's house, fights cops, and gets released. Now, I feel like everybody has had a crazy ex. I was talking to my man today. It's not his ex, it's his girl and whatnot. You feel me? But things can get crazy. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. Let's get straight into the video.
It's 11:20 p.m. on a Friday night, April 25th, 2025, in Berkeley Township, New Jersey. The police get a call about a violent home invasion. The suspect apparently smashed through the front glass door, entered the home, assaulted two people, caused thousands of dollars in damage, and then fought the responding officers. So she's probably
I know
still
y'all
in
see
jail,
the bonnet on today,
right? Well, she would be if she weren't a cop. Let's talk about it.
That shit is all the way up.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. And yes, I did put on a different shirt just for you. Allow me to introduce you to this pretty little innocent-looking girl. This is 32-year-old Rebecca Sayeg, a 9-year veteran of the Toms River, New Jersey.
I ain't gonna lie, just right here, she got that look. I wouldn't even mess with her, bro. Like, it's really, you gotta look at somebody's eyes, and you feel me? You could tell if they a little crazy or not, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This picture's kind of scaring me, bro. So,
police department. Now, in her uniform, she looks like she's just here to help, you know, saving the world one 911 call at a time. Well, this is the same girl who, in this photo, is still looking lovely, but looking like she's fresh up out the club.
Like, was this shit taken on a toenail? Bro, it's 2025, bro. Why is this picture so blurry, bro? Like, what the hell? I'm looking at it on my computer now. It looked a little better, but, like, this should look... I don't know.
She's the understudy for the role of Snooki whenever they decide to reboot Jersey Shore, you know, for the sake of humanity. Now, as a former cop and an attorney, and more importantly, a former purveyor of crazy women, I can tell you that this version of Miss Sweet and Innocent here is more of a dug my keys into the side of his pretty little souped-up four-wheel drive than she is the sweet, innocent police officer in the uniform. And the story I'm about to walk you through, well, it reeks of law enforcement and hot girl privilege, union interference, and a whole lot of we don't do this for civilians energy. So buckle up. It's going to be fun.
And new tonight, a Toms River police officer is behind bars, accused in a home invasion. Berkeley Township Police arrested Rebecca Saya. They found her at a home on Everhahn Avenue. Off duty at the time, police say she smashed the front glass door to the house, went inside, and assaulted two people indoors. Police say she also damaged a car in the driveway. She was taken into custody when police say she resisted arrest.
Now, Officer Sayeg, who again is a 9-year veteran of the Toms River, New Jersey Police Department, she is fresh off a sexual discrimination lawsuit that she filed against her employer for the boys club culture that she alleged existed there at the Toms River Police Department. But we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt because she must have just been at the right place at the exact right time to take note of the fact that her ex-boyfriend had a brand new female friend who was accompanying him at his residence in Berkeley Township, New Jersey.
Okay.
I mean, she wasn't stalking him or anything. She just happened to be in that area, right?
All right.
Right. Now, ironically, Officer Sayeg is not...
Bro, I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. Look at her eyes. She's crazy, bro. It's no type... Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Even if I didn't hear this story, bro, just seeing her, I would think she's crazy, bro. Like, but breaking into the house and whatnot, nah, she look like she would do that, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Her way into homes or to homes that are on fire because she was previously hailed as a hero for forcing her way into a burning home in order to save the occupants and their pets. However, that was while she was on duty and actually in the town where she worked. So maybe she was confused and she thought that her ex-boyfriend needed saving from the new girl inside his house. Amazing how you can do the same exact thing under completely different circumstances.
This
Somehow everybody's all up in arms about the fact that you force your way into the door. I guess the house fire has to come first before all of that's necessary, right?
Well, as luck would have it, by the time that the Berkeley Township Police arrived on scene, they found out that sweet little Officer Sayeg, off duty at the time, just happened to find her trusty old police baton at the most opportune time, and she allegedly used it to beat up the hood of somebody's vehicle in the driveway, smash in a glass front door, John Wick everybody inside, and cause like $2,500 in property damage along the way. But wait, there's more. She also threatened to burn down the house as they hauled her out in cuffs, and that was after she resisted and fought the responding officers. Body cam of this or something. And guess what they did in response? You know, for public safety. They let her go.
That's crazy,
on a summons. Bro. That's right, the equivalent of a traffic ticket. With
on a summons? Nigga, what? Are we serious? That could have been attempted, you know, pow. That could have been attempted. That's already robbery. That's home invasion. Could that be vandalism? Cause she she messed up the car and whatnot. Bro, on a summons, bro. Bro, there's people that have gone to jail over little stuff. Like, people go to jail over weed still, bro. People go to jail for their license being expired. But she went to jail and got a summons? Are we being for real right now?
Appear later.
Or she went to jail and got out, got a summons, whatever.
She's crazy, don't do that. And they said, come on, man, look at her. Look how cute and sweet and innocent she looks. She probably only had one violent, terroristic stretch of psychopathy in her this weekend. We're going to let her go home, sleep in her own bed tonight. Hopefully, she probably won't burn your house down. I mean, come on, man. She wasn't serious. Now, I know what you're thinking. They'd do the same thing for me and you, right? Of course they would. Of course they would. And that's actually where this story gets really strange, because New Jersey has done some significant work in trying to level the playing field for their cashless bail system. And as somebody who represents poor people, sometimes I can tell you that many people plead guilty to charges that started with a constitutional violation and would never be proven because of the way the evidence is gathered, simply because they can't afford to pay to get out of jail. And so I'm not sitting here trying to harp on New Jersey's efforts as far as fixing the cash bail problem as it relates to people who are poor. In fact, what I'm saying is that there are relevant exceptions for the type of things that you can do to not be afforded that opportunity. And what's strange is that those exceptions are exactly what we see in this case. There are things like busting into people's houses and beating up a former domestic partner and making threats to burn down their home. That, on top of the fact that you have mandatory arrest laws for domestic violence. So you might be wondering, like, well, how in the world
I think I said attempted.
Because, in all seriousness, this would never happen for me or you. Well, all you have to do is follow the tea leaves. My initial thought when hearing about this was, the news reported that she was released on a summons, and then the public gave some backlash, and then the prosecutor backpedaled. But that's not actually what happened. Actually, the first news report didn't happen until April 29th, which was on a Tuesday. So the prosecutor actually did it the right way this time, and I think that there's evidence of that in the way that he responded after he figured out what was going on. Now, I don't have proof that anything was withheld from him. I'm only taking the context clues from what he actually did to make that assumption. But let me break it down for you. Under the New Jersey bail system, this is how this case should have actually gone. She gets arrested on scene, not given a summons like she just double parked outside of Wawa. She gets booked into the Ocean County Jail, fingerprinted, and entered into the system like any other person accused of these crazy things that she actually got caught in the course of doing. Then under New Jersey
that's the craziest part to me. She got caught in the middle of doing this, bro. You feel me? Like, I mean, I guess if it's like a allegation, you know, I don't even know about that though. Like, getting caught in the middle of doing it is what's the craziest part to me. Like, there's cops there that arrested her and seen her and heard her saying certain things. Like, that's crazy to me. I hope there's a body cam video.
There's this thing called a public safety assessment that happens, and it spits out like a risk score, which, spoiler alert, would not have been low based on the offenses. We're talking about violent offenses, domestic in nature, property destruction, resisting arrest, and terroristic threats. Ding, 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 all the hallmarks of someone who's supposed to be detained pending a judge's appeal. Now, once that risk score is flagged, the prosecutor gets involved immediately. They get notified, hey, somebody's been arrested, taken to jail. These are the things they're accused of. This is the risk score. And so the prosecutor can make a determination as to whether or not they want to do a motion to have this person detained pre-trial based on the nature of the offenses. And we know that the prosecutor was not notified because that's exactly what the prosecutor did on April 28th, which was the Monday following this weekend situation. So when the prosecutor files the motion, that motion gets heard within 48 hours, just like it's supposed to under New Jersey court rules. So had it been done the right way, she would have sat in jail all weekend, like every other poor soul who catches.
She didn't. That's what I was about to say. She didn't even sit in jail. She got released the same day. Nah, I mean, it's crazy, but at the same time, she's a cop. You know, the cops gonna ride for each other and whatnot, but that's crazy.
Charge on a Friday night, and if properly treated, there would be no sweetheart deal for a weekend at home to call the union rep and coordinate a press strategy and find a treatment program
That's
to
crazy,
give the judge
yeah.
the good old I'm working on myself speech the following Monday, because those things are not happening over the weekend, right? And so the way it's supposed to work is come Monday or Tuesday, she'd be sitting in a courtroom, probably in some sort of a jumpsuit, while the judge decides whether to detain her pre-trial or give her an opportunity to work on some stuff. So the point is, she would have been in jail Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and then on Monday morning she could have started coordinating, but she would already had 3 or 4 days under her belt in jail, and then she would have had to sit another 2 or 3 days. So the total jail time she would have been like 6 or 7 days. Well, what actually happened is this. Instead of arresting her, which the law required under New Jersey's mandatory domestic violence statute, the officers broke the law, let her go with a summons complaint, which is the legal equivalent of a politely worded, we'll see you on Monday if you can make it. And instead of saying, you're going to jail, they said, you're good to drive home. So she's not in custody over the weekend. And then Monday morning comes along, and the prosecutor finally does get notified because the police officers had to do the paperwork and turn it into the court over the weekend. And that's when the prosecutor's like, whoa. And so you might say, well, of course, you know, the prosecutor did this to try to make a public showing. But the truth is, the prosecutor not only filed the warrant to have her taken into custody after she was released on a summons, but the prosecutor also filed a motion to detain her pre-trial and also fought the detention hearing. And at that detention hearing, the judge actually released her because she had Monday and Tuesday, while the prosecutor was fighting to keep her in jail, to coordinate with her union rep to find a law enforcement only treatment center called Shatterproof, which is in some other states.
She is crazy. She's crazy, bro. She is crazy, bro. There's no other. You can't say nothing else to me, bro. She's crazy. Look at her eyes. I said this in the beginning of the video, bro. Everything that I'm hearing right now is really insane, though. Like, she had the 2 day, or I think she got credited for the 2 days, is what he said, right? She got credited for the 2 days. She wasn't even in there for 2 days. And then the judge still let her go. Rebecca Sage had been in a relationship with her attorney said. Okay.
So she's off in La La Land working on herself, and she didn't have to sit those extra few days in jail. It wasn't like he agreed to let her go on treatment. The judge actually ultimately allowed her to go on the pretrial release in order to go to treatment, but the prosecutor fought tooth and nail the whole time. So that's what I mean by read the tea leaves. It looks to me like what happened here is the police were like, well, we can cut her loose and we can save her some of the pain of having to deal with this over the weekend and sit in jail over the weekend when none of these things can start working for her. And then that allowed her the opportunity to get in touch with her union people and do all the things so that by the time she actually did have a detention hearing, this would get queued up for the union to get involved and help her out. Now, I know people are going to say, well, of course, you know, the prosecutor was in on it. He probably just laid low or whatever. But if you believe that, you really don't understand prosecutors at all, because even the most pro-police prosecutor on the planet would never, tied to a political position, allow a person who just committed a very serious violent offense against an ex-domestic partner and then threatened to burn down their house to sit unmonitored over the weekend and unsupervised and just hope that they wouldn't actually make good on their promise to
Yeah,
burn
that's
down the
crazy,
house.
bro.
No prosecutor would take that risk, even if it was for no other reason other than self-preservation. They just wouldn't do it. So what I'm trying to say is, as a former cop and a former prosecutor, I see this from both sides. I do not believe that the prosecutor signed off on this. I think they intentionally circumvented his influence and did not tell him about this and let her go on officer discretion so that they could save her the consequences of what was going on. So they tried to sneak it by us, but nothing gets by your boy except for the stuff that I miss. So I did notice this, and I was like, man, this stinks like corruption. This is something that there's definitely there's a reason to do a little more digging here. And she's currently suspended without pay. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I suspect and I hope that her accusers will not drop the charges and will actually prosecute her, and she'll no longer be a police officer.
Yeah,
because
bro.
I can't imagine anything more scary than a person like that who's willing to go to those extremes simply because a person didn't want to be with her anymore, trying to solve the problems of the people who call 911 and carrying a gun while they do it.
I ain't
In
gonna
closing,
lie.
this is the power of...
Before he finished saying what he's saying, I ain't gonna lie, shit like that is not cool, bro. If you are with someone, you feel me, and you know they don't want to be with you no more, leave it at that, bro. You feel me? Because one, you could really fuck up yourself. You feel me? In many different ways, or say like you get back with that person and whatnot. You feel me? Like could do you even worse, bro. Or you know, don't be mad that the person doesn't want to take you back. You feel me? You just gotta let people go in life, bro. You feel me? You can't be stuck on them and tripping about them and whatnot. Like, you just gotta let people go, bro. Yeah, this is crazy.
Police unions. They are always working in the shadows, and they're literally their only function is to insulate these guys from the consequences of their actions. As a final note, I'd just like to say, as we sign off on this video, that I got to watch as my channel passed 100,000 subscribers today in only 16 months of making content, and I can't thank you guys enough for affirming my work, for consuming my content, and making me feel worthwhile and impactful. Now, we're on to 200,000 and beyond, and the pursuit.
Alright, he just promoting shit. I ain't gonna lie, that's the end of the video. Let me know how I feel about this down in the comments below. Remember, y'all, if you and someone breaks up, bro, just let it be, bro. You feel me? This is from me learning, you know what I'm saying? Giving y'all some wisdom, some insight. Yeah, bro, just don't fight it. You feel me? If something everything comes to an end in life, bro. Nothing is forever. Everything is temporary. You gotta let go of certain stuff. If you're in a relationship and the relationship is about to end, let it end, bro. You feel me? Let that person smooth sail off and you focus on yourself, bro. Let me know how I feel about this down in the comments below. I hope y'all enjoy. Love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.